Short form right now has evolved so much and so fast. People actually took those tips and they're making really cool stuff now. I think the next thing we're gonna see is like storytelling. I'm doing short form full time and YouTube like on the side. And the way you stand out is with storytelling. Right now, it's fair game to anyone, I would say. And I've seen quite a few creators blow up.
So what is actually your process to like take a video from idea to actually publishing it?
There are days where I'm like shooting without any idea what I'm doing. Standing out is both easier and harder, right? Solving the edit is this part of my content treasure chest. It's not like because I want to make content so that I can feed the algorithm, but I want to make content. I just want to make things.
Why the book? Short form content moves so fast.
Exactly.
And books is like completely
like
other end of the
it's
spectrum.
like people have to have a reason to follow you. There's a part of me that always feels like, oh, maybe I'm not dreaming big enough.
You know, I love your story. I love everything that you make. And because you managed to turn a 30-day content sprint into like, I don't know, 2-year career, and you're having a book coming out. That whole story is fascinating in itself. But I really want to learn from you about short form content and what makes short form content work.
I would say the landscape for short form right now has evolved so much and so fast from the time that I did that 30-day thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing because people actually took those tips and they're making really cool stuff now. So it's like while tutorials are still good, and I noticed that they still perform very well, it also reached kind of a, let's say,
like a plateau. Or
it's like now there's a lot more variety. I would say the competition also got even harder, like competition for lack of a better term. But yeah, like short form is still, I think, a really, really good avenue to make content. Like it's not anymore a side note of like, let's say, oh, I have a YouTube channel, might as well do this short form content. Because right now I'd probably say I'm doing short form full time and YouTube like on the side.
So what are the things that you see in short form that like stand out, that still break through the noise, that like capture people's attention?
The things that stand out to me at the moment are like things that are a bit more personal, a bit more about the creator, or a bit more relatable stuff. I think the next thing we're going to see is like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be the thing. And that's I would say the creators I enjoy watching right now, especially for short form, is because I'm kind of invested, not just in the way they tell their stories, but like the story they're saying.
You say it comes back down to storytelling and have engaging connections. Do you think it has to be packaged in a edited kind of way, transition, sound effects, all the things that you showed people how to do? Or can it just be the I'm walking on the street, like sharing what I've learned kind of thing? You
still have to learn the art of like keeping retention, right? Not saying retention editing where it's like all of the effects in like the first 3 seconds, like 12 things have already happened, right? But I've seen quite a few creators blow up within the last few months doing this storytelling thing, storytelling-based content. And when I did one of my biggest collaborations to this point, one with Adobe, the one I did with Adobe, that was the first collab I did with a phone. Like purely with my phone, the stock iPhone camera app. Like I didn't even color grade it. I didn't even... I just used my phone. So that was the first time. It was a big collaboration. I felt like it jived with kind of the feel I wanted to have for the video, right?
Yeah.
I wanted it to be a little bit more personal. I wanted it to feel like it's a story I'm sharing, right? And like seeing a phone video usually does that. Like it's so relatable. It's so unproduced that when people see it, it's like, oh, like there is a thing, like there's something about it that will make you watch an unedited phone video, right?
But so what is actually your process to like, you know, take a video from idea to actually publishing it? Like how do you, what all the steps in between, or how do you filter ideas?
To me, it's an always evolving process.
Yeah.
the way I did videos 2 years ago when I started the thing was all about efficiency. I had a spot where I recorded at the same time every day. I had my camera set up every day.
Yeah, we recorded the whole process of how you set it
Exactly,
up.
right? So I was just like, all that's have to do is sit down, do a 5-minute recording of the talking head, and then everything is done in computer. But now it's super different because again, like we were talking about, it's the game has changed a lot. Standing out is both easier and harder, right? So like it's easier because now you just need a phone for reals. Like I really see the benefit in that, but it's also like you can't just put a phone and talk directly to the phone and do nothing else. So yeah, so my process tends to evolve on a day-to-day basis. Today it could be like as simple as writing a script and then storyboarding and then shooting. There are days where I'm like shooting without any idea what I'm doing. And then at the end of the day, sitting down and I'm like, okay, I have all these pieces. Let me throw them quickly onto my timeline. Maybe put on some music, change this. Oh, maybe I want this to be jazzy because it's a little bit unsure. Or maybe I can do this. So it's like that most of the time. Right now, I would say most of the time it's like that. I'm trying to be more experimental. I'm always as disciples of Matt, make content as if no one is watching, or like make content as if you had 0 subscribers. So I'm like, right now, I'm kind of throwing everything I know away out the window, and I'm like, yeah, sometimes I would sit down, throw a clip of a talking headshot, and I'm like, maybe I need a B-roll of this part. And I don't have anything else. Like, it's not efficient at all at the moment, but I always end up with like, that turned out pretty well.
Well, I mean, when I look over your feed, there is these almost different styles that you have. You made a video about how sound effects are the glue to your video, right? Yeah. And this is like, I don't know, a mini documentary, like high produced TV quality show, just like crammed into 60 seconds, and it's teaching you something, right? And then you have what you call it behind the edit or solving the edit. Yeah. And it feels like you literally just grab the microphone while you are solving the edit in real time, and then like, adding some B-roll here and there. And there's a whole travel thing of just like, we went to a place, here's a bunch of pretty video postcards kind of, right? Out of personal interest, especially the solving the edit series, like at what point do you grab the microphone and actually start recording yourself? Or do you like pre-think about like, I'm going to work on something and I'm going to record something on this? Because like the whole behind the scenes, like how do I show this authentically, I find really hard to do.
That's also one of my problems. And that's why I kind of pushed with this idea of solving the edit. Yeah. Because it was born out of the idea of there are days where I just really want to color grade. Like 10 clips straight, I just want to color grade. Like look at some old videos and then I kind of feel bad that I'm not making content. And I'm like, but I really like color grading. Solving the edit is this part of my content treasure chest where it's like I really don't care. So it's for days when I feel like I'm like I don't have anything to do. I don't know. I don't have a script. I don't know. But I really want to make content. And it's not like because I want to make content so that I can feed the algorithm. But I want to make content because like I just want to make things. That's it. And that's like what solving the edit does for me.
And that's one aspect I enjoy so much about you and what you put out there. It's like you managed to build this like sustainable creator life based around short form and genuinely enjoy it. And I see it every time, like whenever we go somewhere, you have a camera with you and you're just like making something, you're creating something, right? Now you also created a book. Which is, I find a very interesting choice, specifically talking about short form kind of content. First of all, what's in the book? And second of all, why a book out of all things?
So this was actually an email that I got like January 2023, I think. And for me, growing up, like because I am really a book person. Like I love to read. And of course, there's this part of me, like I've always dreamt of like writing a book, like publishing a book. And that was like really one of the talking points. Like, why would you write a book when everyone's doing video?
Yeah, and like it's like short form content moves so fast.
Exactly.
And books is like at the complete
like
other
after
end of the
that, it's like-
spectrum.
but like, and this is actually part of one of the topics in the book. Like before anything else, right?
Yeah.
The concept for the book is that we divided it into three main chapters. Right. The first chapter is called consume.
Okay.
The second chapter is create.
Yeah.
And then the third chapter is curate. Because
I love it already.
it's like, it was Kat's idea actually.
Yeah.
Like we sat down and she was like, these are kind of the three main things you do
Yeah.
as a creator. You're
Yeah.
like always consuming, you're always creating, you're always like trying to curate things, right? So in the consume chapter, there's this part where I talk about like maintaining a healthy, balanced diet and how important that is when you're as a person, right? Like you're
Yeah.
eating right, you're not just like drinking Red Bull 7 times a day, 7 times a week. In the same way, I think for content, right? If you're only watching short form content, you're only going to be making things that other people are already making.
Yeah.
And like reading a book not only gives you an opportunity to step outside of like what others have created, but it's like there's something different with like reading a book, right? Like the way you interpret an idea and the way you visualize because you're reading something and is very different than because you're just like watching stuff. That for me was good enough of a reason because I do the same thing. I'm like, I try to step away and like I try to look for books that I like to read, and more often than not, it's like, oh, this is a good idea, and it's like 2 sentences turn into a really great video idea in my head, and I just write it down for later. So it's kind of the same thing. Basically, that was it. Like it's a childhood dream, and I really believe like reading books still has a place, especially now. Like if everyone is doing the same thing, then doing something different is kind of like what will help you, stand out.
If you think about somebody picking up the book, like what do you think is the one thing they're gonna take away from it, or what is like the core message that you're trying to deliver with this book?
Number one is that there is no one way to do things, and like right up front, I think I mentioned it in like the how to use the book part.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no one way to do things. What I'm sharing is like the things I'm doing and things that have worked for me, which may or may not resonate with you. But some of the things are basic enough that it's also applicable to like a normal person, right?
Like, I mean, the storytelling structure has not changed in millennia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's one of the things. It's like, it may or may not work for you, but I'm also just like an ordinary guy. Like really, I really like making videos. And I don't want it to be just another book where it's like, oh, this is the J-cut, or this is a match cut. So
it's not
like
a printed tutorial.
Yeah. And so that's what I put in the book. It's like, these are the most common things I'm doing. I'm doing it every video more probably. And then I also share the curate part where I talk about curating is not just about like saving the stuff for yourself, but also like in terms of how I make money online.
Yeah.
Right. I don't just say yes to all the brand deals, but if I was to say yes to a brand deal, this is how I would charge it. Like a sample
contract
idea, not a contract, but like an idea of how I would approach a project. It's like, oh, this, you have to think about just the production cost, for example, promotion costs, so things like that. And one thing that I like really changed this whole thing for me is learning about licensing costs.
Yeah.
Right. So like I talk a little bit about that also. So if you're like someone who wants to be a creator, an influencer, and you're like, oh, I want to work with brands, then there's a portion there specifically that I feel like for me, it changed the way every time a brand would approach me. Right. So I share some of that. There's also why I think, for example, I talk about gear, for example, in the book. Everyone wants to talk about gear, but it's not just about saying, oh, this is the camera you need, get this. But it's also like, if you really wanted the camera, at least it has to have this. And I'm not going on about, oh, you have to get this, you have to have this.
Yeah.
Just, if your camera can do this.
It's not about the specific camera. It's about like, what can that tool do for you?
Exactly. It's like, if you can do this, you can probably use it. Start with that.
Yeah,
so things
smart.
like that. So it's a bit more, I wanted the book to feel like 2 guys hanging out in a bar.
Nice.
And you're like, hey, what's this effect called? How do you do this? Or like, because when I was learning all of this, I had no one to ask. I remember Roland and Arnick When I was trying to learn After Effects, there were so many times where I just wanted to like hit Arnick up, for example, and I'm like, can I visit and like show you what I'm doing? Like, how do you do this? And then there are like portions where it's like, this is a match cut. This is why I do a match cut, or why you would want to do a match cut. And then there's a little bit of an exercise at the end. So there's like a try it for yourself portion.
Who do you think this book is best for? Like, is it brand new creators who haven't touched the cameras, or is it people who already played around? Like, who do you think would benefit most from your book?
Most would be for beginners, for example, for sure. But when it comes to like your approach with social media, I would say that's the part that will probably resonate with the more experienced people, right? Like, it's not because being good at video, for example, doesn't necessarily mean, or like being a professional filmmaker, for example, or a professional videographer doesn't automatically translate to
good
social media,
no,
right?
not
Like,
at all.
even if it's like super well done, super produced, it doesn't automatically translate
and
to
actually
that.
in a lot of cases it can be detrimental.
Yeah,
because you're
like,
thinking in different terms, and like, I still have not learned how to tell a story in 60 seconds, right?
So so I think it's definitely more for beginners. You're like, oh, which camera do I get? This book will answer that. What editing techniques do I need to learn? This book will answer that. But for the more experienced people, I think it's going to be on the side of the curate part.
If you think about a person who wants to put themselves out there, who tell their stories or share what they've learned, whatever it is, but they haven't published anything yet, they haven't like made that first step, what would you tell them?
I think the age-old advice is really just to do it, right? Because I feel like I'm in a similar position right now, especially because of YouTube. I have been trying to get my way back onto YouTube because I really want to make the horizontal stuff. My advice would be, it's from another book, right?
Sure.
Notice how I'm quoting books and not like, oh, I saw this video the other day, right?
Yeah.
It's called Whatever You Think the Opposite. If you have a problem at the moment, you're trying to solve it. So let's say you want to make a video. Whatever's in front of you, make that the solution to your problem, right? And that advice has gotten me out of a rut so many times now. And it's always interesting because you will be forced to come up with ideas you never thought. Like, let's say I want to do a review about this camera, for example, or I want to talk about this camera. I don't know how to start, and I'm like, I see a pen. Like, how can I go into this mode where it's like, okay, I'm going to use this pen and somehow translate it into, like, the camera. Like, what are the things I can talk about that are similar? Then I go into, like, what's a metaphor I can use? Or, like, what's a story maybe behind the pen that kind of, like, led me, so things like that. So whatever is in front of you, make that the solution. One of the ideas I have right now for promoting the book is like when I'm making reels, right? I have this keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard, and I bought that because I wanted to feel like a writer. And it's always in front of me. So I'm like, one of the ideas I have is like, maybe I can talk about the keyboard and then segue it into how I wrote a book. So it's like, because it's always there. So sometimes like I would say that's my biggest.
See, and you just mentioned it, and I already see a story evolving.
Exactly.
Where it starts with the keyboard, ends with the book, and it like creates this loop that like feels satisfying to create and to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that advice before, and
again, it's from a book. That's why.
Yeah. What's so good about books, it is that they pack so much information, so much value, so much of some smart person's thinking into this compact form that is incredibly affordable.
Yeah.
And has an incredible life, where it's just like, if this is on your shelf, you just read it. Like, I really started rereading a lot of books I have at home, because you read it first and it's like, okay, let me go back to it a year later and see how my perspective has changed, or let's remind myself of some concepts. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you for writing this book. I'm very curious to get my hands on it.
Yeah, me too. I want to see
and I'm very excited to get other people's hands on it. Your story is just so incredible, with like getting frustrated, making 30 videos in a row, and like now being here, having written the book, right? But like, with all of this going on, what does success look like to you? What does success mean to you?
it's I always talk about this with Kat, and I feel like there's a part of me that always feels like, oh, maybe I'm not dreaming big enough, you know. But to me, it's like I just want to spend as much time as I can with Kat, Kara, and her new baby, and like make money.
Yeah.
While I'm spending so much time with them.
While you're buying new cameras.
While I get so that I can also buy new cameras, right? But really, it's like at the end of the day, I always there are times where I sit down and tell Kat, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm in a position. I'm not saying like I've made it completely right now.
Yeah.
Like there is no problems. Of course, there's problems, right?
Yeah.
But there are times where I would always just like be super appreciative of like I've been able to take Kat and Kara with me, all expenses, flights, hotels, and I got paid because I'm working with a brand.
Yeah.
And that's really just like I want to have a life where it's like I can spend time with them. We can like go on trips if we want to, and still not like be able to like provide. That's it. Like that's like I wish it was bigger, right? Like maybe I don't know. Like
that's a very wholesome way of thinking about it.
it's
Honestly,
like maybe like start a $1 billion company, like. But I don't really want the stress of like.
yeah. But is that gonna take you further away from your family or closer?
Right? So to me, it's too simple. I think. Right? It's just I really want to be with my family. I mean, I could look at the situation and complain about, oh, I don't have enough time because I'm always, you know, taking Kara to the kindergarten or like, you know, doing these things. I have to, but then I can also say, I've been able to do this while working like 4 hours a night, for example, or like 4 hours in the day, 4 hours in the night, or you know things like that. So it just really comes down to that. Like I hope I can do this, as long as I can, where it's like I get paid to make videos about things I like.
Yeah. What I find so beautiful about that is that, I don't know, we know each other for like 4 years or so now. And the very first thing I learned about you, how you introduced yourself was, I'm Justin, I'm a full-time cool dad.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is still true. And it's still like who you are or who you want to be hasn't changed despite, you know, everything else going on, and you're still creating content for other people that inspires them, helps them learn something. So if people want to know more about you, about the book, where can people find it? What's the best way to stay in your orbit?
All right, Mastering Video Content Creation, the title of the book, is now available online through many different online stores. But the easiest way to get that, go to my handle at Justin_Joseph_Espejo on Instagram. You'll find a link where you can register for the pre-order, and then you'll get an email containing like links to the online store based on the region, and you can like click based on which region is the best for you. Like
nice.
Barnes and Noble.
Awesome, and we'll put all the links down in the description so people can find it. But yeah, thanks for taking the time.
No. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk about it, right? And for hopefully helping me make my own content.